The Personal Journal of Ernest Shackleton. A fateful day. Our position is latitude 69 degrees 5 minutes south, longitude 51 degrees 30 minutes west. It is hard to write what I feel. To a sailor, a ship is more than his floating home. And in the Endurance I had centered ambitions, hopes, and desires. But at 5 p.m., I ordered all hands onto the ice.
Look to the south, and all you see is ice. Look to the west, and just a sea of ice. Look to the north, and there is ice as well. Look to the east, and just an icy hand. Look to the south, and all you see is ice.
Look to the ship, she hasn't long to go.
Look to the crew,
Don't stay too long below. Look how she lists from the starboard mast. Look in the ice, she is hard to fast. Look to the ship, she hasn't long to go.
and there's no reprieve, and there's no respite, and the ship will not cleave, and the ice floes are tight. Here, at the end of the world,
We're here at the end of the world, so near to the end of the world. Far from land and far from sea, uncharted men are we. We're here at the end of the world, in fear of the end of the world. Far from home and family, disheartened men are we. And the forkings break, and the timbers moan, and the mastheads shake, and the floor plates groan, and it feels like the end of the world. And the pressure grows, and the ridges climb, and endurance turns, and there's not much time here at the end of the world. 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 At the end of the world. Here at the end of the world. We're here at the end of the world. So near to the end of the world. Far from earth and there is ice as well. Unguarded high and just an icy hand. We're here at the end of the world. It's west of the end of the world. Far from home and there is ice as well. We're scared east in Rick Stroud. Smash and all you see is ice. Smash and feed the west like the end of the world. The sea of ice. The dogs are hushed and there is ice as well. It feels like the end of the world. At the end of the world.
I try to explain our position to the crew. I estimate that we are 364 miles from Paulet Island, the nearest point where there is any hope of finding food and shelter. I propose to try to march across the ice in that direction. I thank them all for their steadiness and good morale in these trying circumstances. I have no doubt that, provided they continue to work to their utmost and to trust me, that we will all reach safety in the end.
Look at what I've done. Look at where I've brought us. Deep into the wilderness. And look at how it's fought us. Look at where we are. Look at what I've sought us. Deep into the darkness. And look at how it's taught us. What kind of man man would be so cold? What kind of fecklessness would that show? What kind of plan could be so bold? What kind of recklessness made me go? What kind of man could be so sure? What kind of stranger risks life and limb? What kind of clan could just ignore the kind of danger they'd face with him? What kind of man just stays at home? What kind of man would never roam? What kind of fool could be so numb? Is that the kind of man that I've become? What kind of man would never try? What kind of man would never fly? What kind of fool would never strive? That's not the kind of man, no, not the kind of man who should survive. Put all their faith in one short-sighted scheme. They set out to sea. They gave their lives for one foolhardy dream. Was that foolhardy dreamer really me? What kind of man would cower in fright? What partisan gives up the fight? What kind of fool lets down his men? What kind of man would I be then? That's not the man they followed here. That's not the man who's led the cheer. That's not the fool scared behind. Some also ran. No, I will never be that kind of man.
Today, I intend to begin our march west. We cannot afford to cumber ourselves with unnecessary weight, so I have allowed only £2 per man for personal gear. I take a moment to remind the crew of what Queen Alexandra wrote in the Bible she presented to us the day the Endurance set sail.
May the Lord help you to do your duty and guide you through the dangers by land and sea. May you see the works of the Lord and all his wonders in the deep, in the deep. May the Lord help you to do your duty and guide you through the dangers by land and sea. May you see the works of the Lord and all his wonders in the deep, in the deep.
It is hard in our situation not to think of home and our people beyond the seas. I'm sure that many of the men are wondering if their loved ones are looking up at the same moon and stars as us. If only they could know that we are all alive and desperately trying to find a way to safety.
Stand, hold your head high. Who knows what's true? Pictures can lie. Be who you planned. Someone they know, someone like you. That's what you show. That's all you need to be. Nothing more to see. Not like him, so far away from me. Picture him at a desk in a bowler hat, leaving town on the 5:23. Picture him coming home to a mansion flat. Picture that, now picture me. Picture me as the woman who caged him in. Picture me, the conventional wife, keeping eagles from flying. Now that's a sin. That's no win, and that's no life. I cannot picture you right now. I cannot picture where you are in the world. How can someone who goes so far from the world ever relearn how to be if you return? Picture us when we're 60 at home each day. Picture us by the fire each night, safe and sound with ambitions all far away, old and grey. Does that seem right? So take a picture of me, put it in a frame, hang it high on the drawing room wall. See a woman with only herself to blame. That's her shame. She tried to have it all.
Today, 6 of us set off in the James Caird to try to get help. We had 800 miles of the roughest seas in the world to cross, and there was no hope of rescue for the 22 men stranded on Elephant Island if we failed. But I could see no other option.
We waved them off to fight their wars, how quickly they risk their lives. We watched them go from cottage doors, their mothers and their wives. For this is how it's always been, some go and some must stay. There's got to be a home front keen to fight another day.
A spare thought, shed a tear for the ones you leave behind. Say a prayer while you're here for the ones you leave behind. Who can doubt right now that out of sight means out of mind? So swear an oath and make it loud and clear to the ones you leave behind.
We wave them off upon their trip, how bravely they volunteer. We watch them go, those storm winds grip the waves on which they steer. For though we'd all be glad to go, we know we must obey. They are our final hope, and so we send them on their way. But spare a thought if you can for the ones you leave behind. Say a prayer, make a plan for the ones you leave behind. We can know how things will go with so much undefined. So swear an oath to each and every man, to the ones you leave behind.
They made surprising speed for such a small craft. We watched them until they were nearly out of sight, which was not long, for such a tiny boat would soon be lost on the great heaving ocean.
So spare a thought, make a vow to the ones we leave behind. Say a prayer, take a bow to the ones we leave behind. Who can hide their sense of pride in all of humankind? So swear an oath we'll all survive somehow, to the ones you leave behind.
3 cheers for the James Caird and the boss. Hip hip. Hip hip.